I got your.
I think you're ready to go. 7:02.
Rebecca, what do you think? Okay, welcome everybody.
to our regular town board meeting, October 9th, 2025. And if you would, please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Now we're rolling right into the business part of it. Gentlemen, the minutes of previous regular town board meeting on September 11th, special meeting budget presentation October 1st.
I make a motion to approve both.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Report by elected officials and department heads. Town clerk, Rebecca.
The clerk's office total income for August is $18,215.77. $8,696.75 in fees of sales are paid back to Department of Health, Ag and Markets, DEC, and the New York State Comptroller. $9,519.02 will be remitted to the supervisor's office. Revenue totals include $5,128.40 from recycling, $2,220 in rental fees, which is 12 community center reservations, $418 in dog licenses, there's 2 original and 64 renewals, $1,752.62 miscellaneous fees are comprised of $672.50 from Vital Statistics, $475 in Easy Pass tags, which is 19 tags, $128.87 in bingo proceeds, $476.25 DEC commission from $8,396.75 in sales. The household the clerk's office will be open this Saturday from 9 to 1, and there's a community yard sale also happening at the same time in the parking lot. You do not need to be a resident. Setup begins at 8. And I also wanted to read a letter to the supervisor and members of the Brunswick Town Board. Please accept this letter as my formal resignation from the office of Brunswick Town Clerk, effective October 17, 2025. It has been my honor to serve the residents of Brunswick, and I'm deeply grateful for the trust and support I have received during my time in office. I will work to ensure a smooth transition of my responsibilities. I have full confidence in Deputy Clerk Cheryl to continue providing professional, reliable service to the community during this transition. I have copies for everybody if you'd so like to.
Okay, thank you.
Rebecca, did that go over to the, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Grab that mic and pull it toward you.
Did that go over to the Secretary of State also?
Yes, and also the Board of Elections.
Okay, entertain a motion at this point to approve Rebecca's report.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Highway Department, Mr. Daly.
Good evening. September report. We finished brush pickup. We had six men for 3 days doing that. And then we moved on to doing some catch-up paving with the remainder of our paving budget. We did 5 small streets in town through the shared services program with the county. Thanks to the county exec for getting in contact with me and putting that all together. They were nice streets to get done. They were short, miserable little streets, and they come out very well. The county does a beautiful job for them. We supply them with some flaggers, some trucks, and prep them for them. But the crew they bring is very professional. Doing a great job. So we paved those 5 streets, so we had 10 men for 2 days paving with the county crew. Then we had back to blacktop up in the areas. We just ditched them, clean them all up and prepare them for that. Also had to cut all the brush along those roads. So ditching was 2 men for 2 days on Pickering and Duncan Drive. And that finished that section. Our paving was done for the year. Since then, we've had 5 men running around fixing potholes and patching before the blacktop plant's empty, trying to get all the roads in shape for winter. We had 1 man for 1 day pulling recyclables down to the recycling center for the county waste. Since then, we've had 4 men for 7 days, getting trucks ready for leaf pickup, brush pickup. And plowing, put a few plows on just in case we don't get caught short if something changes quick. Still mowing on the side of the roads a little bit. Rod is finishing up mowing ball fields for the last time. We had 1 man, 2 days doing that. Picking up bags, everybody's bagging leaves at this point, so we got 7 days of that with 2 men. Last month, Valley Paving did Oxford Road, so we had to go back through and topsoil the edges and the driveways. And we had 5 men per day doing that. And one of the new improvements was the addition of 8 speed humps in the area down by Walmart. And so we put signage up for that, and then they were put together and striped. We had 2 men for 4 days putting signs up and getting all that mess cleaned up. They worked out very well. Had a lot of good comment on the speed humps. I didn't think that it was the right thing to do, but obviously I'm wrong. So then we're prepping trucks for snow and leaf pickup. We had 4 men for 3 days doing that. At the end of the month, our historian is having a walk through at Forest Park, so we're cleaning up down there. We had 5 men for 3 days down, cleaning up the park, getting the brush out of the way, trying to get things cleaned up for her a little bit. We also went down the town supplies equipment for leaving the cemetery to put roads in. So we had 4 men for 2 days putting roads in, doing that. Closing the beach, and Kings Lane, we had 5 men for 2 days doing that piece of it. The crew has been jumping around like magpies. They do a good job changing gears, but which is different for us. Kevin has done a wonderful job on the paving projects. The best thing I can do with Kevin is stay out of his way when he's paving. That's my report, gentlemen.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Entertain a motion for Mike's report.
I'll make it.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, water department, Mr. Bradley.
Good evening. Water and sewer report for September 2025. We've been, a number of people have asked why we're draining the Mannerheim Reservoir again. And that was because early in the season, we did not have the bottom valve available, and there's some relining that has to take place. So we had put a temporary valve in there in order to get the beach open in time. So with that, with the beach being closed now, we are draining the reservoir so that the bottom valve, the lining can take place, the bottom valve can be installed, and the superstructure for a gangway can be installed. So that's the reason for the reservoir being lowered.
And Fisher asking me too, so.
Yeah, well, it's, I wonder whether we should actually expose them to fishing, because I think it's like shooting fish in a barrel at some point. Actually, it's somebody, a number of different reports of some, the fish survived quite well. Some people caught some large fish out. Unfortunately, the Walmart sewer lift station, the new promise date is December. So we're looking into how we're gonna function in some of the cold weather potentially between now and then, looking into some options for that. One of the things I did do is look back at the contract we had with Walmart when they did give us some money for the sewer station upgrade. In that, it's approximately 4,000 gallon allotment that they have. And if you look at their actual meters usage, it approaches that 4,000 gallons per day. It approaches that. It's not over it, but they have an infiltration situation. So I think it might be fair to reach back to Walmart and have a discussion with them. Either fix their infiltration or contribute to some additional improvements down. So I'll be looking into that.
Where would the infiltration be coming from?
Believe it or not, if you look on the USGS maps, it shows us a wet spot in the middle of that store when it was a Johnson's farm. And they did camera that when they did the addition, and ran the camera up there, and lo and behold, there's a pipe coming up, in the middle of the store, and there's water flowing into it. And it comes pretty much right in that area where that was shown on the mapping. It's a spring. And instead of piping that spring individually, somebody at the time decided the easiest way was maybe pull a gasket or something and let it flow into the sewer system. It's under the middle of the store. Wow. It's a third of the way into the store. Unfortunately, I wish I'd known about it before they actually had built the addition. But it is what it is. Much time has been put into reviewing the Marie's Views construction site down there. There was some, we found that there was a few issues with the stormwater plan that they had originally presented and the retaining wall that they had proposed to construct there. So I've been working with Kevin Manello and with the folks from Marie's Views to correct those. And I think we got a plan, waiting for them to respond and, get that project moving forward. I'm working with Ty Sales. One of the things is that, we just paid our bills, and you'll see there, a little over $700,000 to the city of Troy for water. We didn't bill much more than $700,000, in the last bill. So there's quite a bit of water loss. It's a combination of, it's been very difficult this year to figure out what's going on. Posting Hill had some issues going on. We found out one of the places where we thought we had a break and we're chasing our tails. Well, it was the Troy Country Club drawing water from the system and putting it in their irrigation pond. Fortunately, it does go through a meter, but it would have been nice if somebody had informed us so we had one start crazy.
You get a chance to talk to somebody?
Well, I spoke to the grounds,
Yep.
Mr. Sullivan.
Chris
Chris Strong, excuse me. Spoke to him and expressed my displeasure. So,
Said they had a big state tournament there and wanted everything green.
okay, wow.
Remember, when you send a bill to them.
And I'm not terribly happy that our school is also building an irrigated soccer field. That I took a look at the actual volumes, and they're going to be very limited to what they really can do. They'd be the first ones to get cut off. And also, I would have cut the cemetery off. Excuse me, I would have cut the country club off too. So with that being said, we need a better way to look at where these leaks are. We did find some small leaks when we're chasing ourselves around. And Post and Kill, the fellow from Ty Sales, he's where I 64 Seconds is the name of the company. I don't know why it's called 64 Seconds, but they build a leak detection system. They are one of the originators of this technology. They've been in and out of the business. I think it's probably from non-compete because they've sold separate businesses. So I think they build a business, sell it, have a non-compete, build another business, sell it, et cetera, et cetera. So they have some very sophisticated sensors. Post and Kill was having problems. Post and Kill got their system and it's been able to cut their water consumption over 30,000 gallons a day.
Is that a system that's installed along the pipes, or it's just a one-time thing?
It's installed along the hydrants. That's the predominant attachment point. You can make attachments in different locations, but they have found that the technology that they've worked with now, they can work on the hydrants. So we can, let's say when we have a service leak, it was in, for instance, we got one in Springfield. If we would have known about that weeks ago, if we had a detection system. It's a sick way. When you get up to the 16-inch main, it becomes a little bit more difficult because the hydrants are further apart. We're talking to them about what we can do there to improve that kind of detection on the larger mains.
Is it a permanent monitoring
Yes.
system or just something they come in and tell you where your leaks are?
It's a permanent monitoring system. So it should, it should easily pay for itself because particularly Troy's rates are up. So we'll wait until we get the numbers back and we think have that discussion. We had a little oops with a water line that was installed by a contractor who was somewhat notorious in the past ages of not putting things where the drawing showed. And so over in the Highlands, which is the Heather Ridge Road area, the water line was 20 feet off. It was a plastic water line, no markings, and no tracer wires. It ended up being right in the footings of a new addition. So we relocated that. It was 160 feet of pipe. So it was good practice for the young men that work for me, but it was a very costly and aggravating process. So that's it. Any questions?
Very busy.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the bill report, and I have a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tracy? Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. This past month, I've been focusing on getting things ready for the annual walkthrough at Forest Park Cemetery, which will be on October 18th at 1 p.m. Each year, I like to add a few new storyboards of the families who are buried there for the guided tour. If anyone is interested in attending, you can register at the Brunswick Historical Society's website. The registration helps us keep track of how many people plan to attend. There is no cost to register, but donations would be appreciated, and those donations will be used to continue to upright any fallen stones. I've also looked into and found information on several of the early board members of the Forest Park Cemetery, along with their photos. Most of the board members were businessmen from Troy, with one exception with a man from New York City. I've also been able to confirm locations of burial plots in the Essex section of the cemetery, and that is the one where the infant stones are. And there are not too many stones in that area, so when you look at the map where they have the names placed, it's very hard to figure out where they are. So I was able to actually confirm some of the locations this month. And I am still looking for stories, photographs, or any information about the veterans that are connected to Brunswick so they can be included in the Veterans Project for 2026. I had a gentleman come in last week and drop off some of his dad's World War II pictures and information, so that was very nice. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Thank you. Entertain a motion for the story and the report.
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Angster, recycle.
Good evening. Recycling report for September. Blue bags purchased at this, is this on?
Yes, that is.
Blue bags purchased at the center, 466 at $3 for $1,458. Blue bags purchased at vendors, 600 for $1,530. Purple bags purchased at the center, 212 at $2 for $424. Metal light iron, 3.99 tons at 134 and 145 gross ton for $505. Cardboard bale, 2.25 tons at a penny a pound for $45. Miscellaneous large and small appliances, we had 10, 12 ACs, 12 tires, and 2 microwaves for $356. That gave us revenues of $4,318. Expenses, refuse landfill, 11.63 tons at $130 a ton for $1,511. Single stream recycling, 4.73 tons at $100 a ton for $948. Gave us expenses of $2,459. The total amount recycled in landfill for September was 22.6 tons.
Down a lot. Down 10 tons.
It is, down about 5-7 tons.
People enjoying the weather.
Yes, it's the vacation.
Entertain a motion for tonight's report.
I'll make it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Brunswick Community Library. Come on up. How are you?
Hi, I'm Annie Metzger. I'm here on behalf of Sarah Hopkins. Sarah couldn't come tonight because she was accepting another award today. The Brunswick Community Library was the recipient of the ARC Community Partner Award for 2025. We're very proud of that. Sarah is tireless in advocating for everyone in her community vociferously, and we love her for it. So this, for October, we've already, this past week of October, had 10-1, a legal aid clinic, and also on 10-1, a fashion history presentation. On 10-6, there was a hearing screening clinic and nature play. And on 10-7, kids yoga. And today was an Adirondack wildlife presentation. Coming up, 10-11 will be an author visit with Denise Cronow. On 10-14, a seed collecting workshop. On 10-15, already full class about making autumn wreaths. On 10-16, an author visit with Catherine Bruns. On 10-17, spooky ballet. On 10-20, a DIY quilling frames workshop that you need to registration is required for that. And on 10-31, there'll be a big Halloween party because it's a half day at Tamarack. So if you're gonna have a library full of children, it would be great. For the month of September, the library had 2,196 visitors and answered 433 reference questions. They had 167 unique Wi-Fi users, 332 people using the study spaces, 110 tech use and assistance questions, 11 passports. For checkouts for the month of September, physical items were 3,329, 1,989 on Overdrive, 127 on Hoopla, and 1,225 uses of Newsbank, for a total of 6,670, which is down from a little bit from 2014. I won't read all the program statistics, but I will tell you that there were 513 people that participated in programs in September. There you go.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your award. They don't just hand them out.
No, they-
I know that, it's a big, big area. Very sincerely, congratulations. All right, entertain a motion to approve our library report.
I'll make it.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Rebecca, resolution 771.
Resolution number 70 of 2025, resolution authorizing and setting a public hearing on a proposed local law authorizing the town board to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2026.
I'll offer it. Second.
The foregoing resolution has been offered by Councilman Balistrary and seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
This resolution is adopted.
That sounds a little scary. Somebody want to explain that a little bit? Dave?
The budget was presented by the supervisor at a fairly ceremonial thing here on October 1st, and I think it's up on the website, or I assume it is. That's the tentative budget, which the town board then gets a chance to look at and make changes. And there's a 2% cap on the growth of the tax levy year to year enacted in state law. And what the law requires, that tentative budget, which was prepared by the supervisor, comes in under that 2%. What the law says is if a municipality, if a town's gonna go over that cap, in other words, it's gonna increase the tax levy by more than 2%, it has to have a local law passed that where 3 out of 5 of the town board members approve going over the tax cap. I mean, it's the same, it's not a higher number of members who have to vote in favor of it, but I think the state required the local law route because it requires the town board to have a public hearing on that so that it's more available to the public and the public is aware that that's going on. What's going on is that since the supervisor's budget comes in under 2%, but if the town board goes forward, we created the library district, if the town board goes forward, the library district, the ambulance, sorry. If the town board goes forward on the
That would have been good for you.
if the town board goes forward on the ambulance district and the RFPs are out for that, that will be a substantial expenditure that would put us over the cap. So we have to have a local law in place if we want to go forward with that project. So we set the hearings, what we just did now was set the hearing on the local law to override the cap, if that's what we decide to do. And if you read it, if you read the resolution, the local law, I think is on the proposed local law is also on the website. It doesn't require us to go over the cap, but it authorizes the town to go over the cap. And then the other hearing we just scheduled would come after that, which would be to review the budget. And we'll see by that time what the budget is and whether it's over the cap.
I put you on the spot, but basically it gives us allowance for ambulance districts. Okay,
I also want to notice just for the record that the public hearing is set for November 6, 2025 at 5:30 PM here at the Brunswick Town Hall.
okay.
Resolution number 71 of 2025, resolution setting a public hearing on the preliminary budget of the town of Brunswick for fiscal year 2026.
I'll offer it. I'll second it.
The foregoing resolution has been offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
This resolution is adopted. This public hearing is scheduled also for November 6, 2025 at 5:45 at the Brunswick Town Hall, following the first one.
Okay. Thank you. Old business,
I have some on the ambulance.
okay?
Just to give everybody an update on where we stand, the RFP went out, as our council had said. We had a Q&A period for it in case any of the respondents had questions. That ended last Friday, October 3rd. We received questions from 2 agencies. We put together a response, which is going to go out tomorrow. And then the responses to the RFP are due back by Friday, October 17th. The board will then review all the responses and make a determination on who we wish to contract with. I believe we're still on pace for January 1st of 2026, tentatively, provided there aren't any obstacles we encounter along the way. So that's it.
Okay. Anybody else? Any old business, new business? What's that? No, not quite yet. I met with the manager at Price Chopper down here the other day. He is trying quite hard to get the buses to come back into the plaza, which I totally agree with. I think he's only been there since, January or whatever, but, interesting to find out. I believe he told me, I know he told me, that Price Chopper gives CDT, which one is this? The buses, like $100,000 contract for transportation. I don't know whether that's for all Price Choppers or what, they do pay. He's quite concerned, as all of us in Brunswick are, about the shopping carts out in front. He's concerned about, they cost him like $350, and he's lost 100 of them, plus whatever. He and myself and the rest of the board, of course, quite concerned when the people crossing the road, Route 7. And when I kept meeting with DOT officials, I said, this is completely nuts, trying to move people through there, and these people have to hit the light, change it, make it red, and go across. None of us very happy with the litter on this. However, the big obstacle is Nigro, who owns the plaza, does not want the buses back in there. Said they make potholes, park out in front. Maybe they take a break and park over the side or whatever, but big pushback from the owner of the plaza. So I agreed to try to work with him. in the bus company, see if we can put some pressure on Nitro, so. You know, a lot of people here like to keep the bottom drunk, like that might not hurt to call Nitro, and it just says, there any possibility of getting the buses off of Route 7 back in there, so. It was a good meeting. Stay tuned to see what happens. Only other thing I want to mention, DOT, some of you remember the school and ourselves, Mark made a phone call, quite concerned about the speed in front of Tamarack School. We asked them to lower the speed limit. The superintendent sent a letter and a phone call asking DOT to take a look at it. We followed it up. Let me just read this maybe. DOT mentioned that they received a follow-up letter from the town of Brunswick supporting the school district's request for a speed zone limit. They said they investigated it. DOT reviewed the crash history along Route 2 from 278 to 351 in a 5-year period. There was a total of 5 reported motor vehicle crashes in front of the school. I would think 1 would be too much personally, but additionally reviewed bicyclist crash history over 16 years. There has been no bicycle accidents on the road. They wanted to point out there's been additional warning signs, warning motors of the likelihood of school children crossing the highway. And mentioned flashing beacons were installed, roads were well marked. With all that reasoning, they say that they believe that the 35 mile an hour speed limit in front of the school is sufficient, and they're not going to lower it. That's from DOT. I guess trying to senator and so on and so forth, but nothing makes sense with big heavy trucks at 35 miles an hour going down through there. But this is the type of thing we get from the state and DOT. For a long time, they didn't find much issue with Route 7 either, you know, but that's the way we tried. So. Okay. I guess that's it at this point. We'll pay the bills.
Yep.
Make a motion.
Make a motion that we pay our warrants.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's open this up. Visitors. Anyone want to approach and address the board? If not, we can still continue here with a couple items. Anybody want to come up? Or Kim, you want to come up?
That's not
Okay. Come on up, Peter. I'm quite sure you'll just get going.
Good evening, my name is John Riegert, 43 Whitetail Surf over in Spring Landing. So I don't want to get into details because we haven't really had a final proposal, but I would just want to present to the board the obvious concerns that our neighborhood has in regard to the alleged proposed energy transfer station from National Grid over between Spring and Hampshire. And there's going to be a lot of considerations that I'm sure we're all going to bring to you in the planning board in regards to safety considerations and, you know, setbacks and how it looks and protection of the community and property values and all those kind of things. But the one thing I think is important for the board to kind of consume from here from a more global perspective, as you guys learn of this process going forward to the planning board, is this proposal, I'll step back, from what I understand, the expert that I am in regards to this process, is that they're building a platform above the gas line. The gas line that runs one of the power lines that go from North Greenbush through our town up north has a gas line that parallels it. That gas line is now being, there's demand of the gas line more than it can deliver. They are prohibited from expanding the gas line for other reasons. And as a result, they're building a different solution where they drop a platform on top of the gas line, build 26 stations. This is what the proposal National Grid is alleging. They drop on top of those 26 stations tractor trailers that contain 300 to 500,000 pounds of compressed natural gas. And then when the demand is necessary, upstream, north of us. Could be our town, it could be Hoosick Falls, it could be where the line crosses the river back over in Saratoga County. Those tractor trailers get unloaded into the system and it gets pushed north. National Grid has said in conversations that this only happens when it's 5 degrees and below. But when that happens, these trucks will then be, they're stationed there permanently in the fall. They unload when need be, and then as the need comes, those tractor trailers come in and out. It's a continuous service process until the demand lessens, as National Grid describes, above 5 degrees or with normal weather comes. From my perspective, so my background is I'm a retired captain out of Troy PD. I did a long time ago, I did a little radio communication, some people on the board, but to make a long story short, I had some experience with traffic safety. I worked DOT inspection sites, and I've driven Spring Avenue since I was 16 years old. And I know that from the last DOT study, that there literally are, on the average, 2 tractor trailers, or I should say 2 vehicles, with 3 or more axles a day traveling Spring Avenue. The last DOT traffic study was last year. They want to bring in tractor trailer over tractor trailer over tractor trailer with 300 to 500,000, it's not square foot, but it's cubic feet of compressed natural gas. County road, doesn't have proper shouldering. There's not a straightaway in the entire process. It is going to be traversed from Congress Street to Pauling Avenue to Spring Avenue. Now just drive this with me. Spring Avenue along Sacred Heart, how tight that is. Get into the town, you're concerned. The turns from the crossway, going through the neighborhood of Mountain View and all those properties, going into the flat of Spring Avenue as you get down towards Spring Avenue, that lane, the only flat spot. The county just did the road a couple years ago. They did a great job. But those shoulders have no relief. They're not built for commercial traffic. That entire process of bringing that in, by the way, alone, step back, that's a significant change. And then bringing the fact that it's 5 degrees and below. What are you going to treat the road with? Nothing's going to work in that process. And they want to be doing this to support the natural gas process in extremely cold weather. So the demand is only going to be when it's likely the roadway conditions are not at the best. As great as the town and the county is, I can tell you it's a guarantee. You can go through trust me, as a municipal employee, I get it. You get onto the county road in the town, and it's great. And you hit the city, and it's a mess. Depends how things work. Everybody has their different schedule to get people out. And there's other days when the county hasn't gotten there yet, and the city's okay. Regardless, it's an extremely challenging area. Two more things I want to point out. This is only the third for National Grid, only the third site that established in New York State. There's one that is in Long Island, I don't know where that is. There's one in Monroe, just built last year. That site is in the middle, it's in Monroe, at the state park area, next to a Target, shouldn't be next to, within a mile of the Target distribution center, a mile and a half off of 87. And it's, the line goes through farmland. The farmer stole the land on top of the process. And there may be within a mile and a half, 10 properties, 10 residents. That's not the case here. It's not the case anywhere else. So our town will have one of the only sites like this in the state, as well as the only one that's apparently within a residential community. So you guys are going to absorb a lot, we'll hear a lot, I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion about this, but I just wanted to make sure we elevate what this really means, not just for folks who are impacted immediately in the area, but as well as the entire town, as well as what this is going to be potentially bringing in to the community. This site has to be, from a National Grid perspective, their most feasible. That's why they're there. They probably have other solutions, but it may not be as cheap. I'm not sure the town should take that burden. I just wanted to pass that along. I don't think there's any questions or comments, but I just wanted to pass that along to the town. I appreciate your guys' consumption of all that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Sue Bates, 10 Miller Road. So to kind of go on that theme, I know you guys are, know where I live. I know Mr. Harrington came out with the property. It's right next to my yard. But I've talked to the National Grid people and I've asked them, have you ever had to use the site in Monroe? Have you ever had to use the one in Long Island? Never. So they've never used it. They tested the one in Long Island, but they've never used it. So again, I sent you guys all a letter. We went to the planning board as well. My question is, why now? And why here? And to your point, National Grid told me they've looked at 3 or 4 other sites, but this was, the site that worked the best for them. Closest to the pipeline, didn't have to do a lot of excavation, relatively, they'll have to do some, but not as much as if they went to a different site. So this is the most convenient site for them. It's a long pipeline. There's got to be some other place that might not have houses around it, similar to Morel. Ask them, what area would this serve? It would serve 25 or 28,000 customers if they need to turn it on. And I said, will you be building more of these in other parts of the Capital District or upstate New York? 28,000 people is not a lot of people to serve, considering the whole population. They said they couldn't tell me that. It wasn't my business. It isn't my business, but just, putting that out there. So they have 2 that they've never used. It says they want to be prepared in case they need it, which I understand. Why here? Why now? And are they going to be putting more of these in? Brunswick going to be a test site for other populated areas. Of course, there's one in Long Island, not populated, but there are parts of Long Island out at the end, I think, that are not as populated. Never been there, but from what I hear. So, all points to consider. I agree with what you said. You're going to hear more and more about this, I'm sure. I don't know when they're going to come before the planning board. I know they were gonna, and then that got pushed back. So, I'm curious to hear, what they're.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
They gave me a number. Now, I don't know how good this number is in terms of, I don't know if you spoke to a National Grid. There is a number I talked to people at National Grid. There is a number they call the Project Engagement Team. Okay? And I can give you that number after we.
I talked to him. He came to my house.
Okay. Is that what he said he
Nick.
was? Well, maybe I can give it to other people if they're interested.
Yeah.
It's, I believe me, I don't vouch for this. I don't know how good they're gonna be or how helpful
Yeah.
or whatever, but it's 518-554-8454. And one of the things that I learned in, just looking at this situation is that utilities have power that they don't make.
Yeah,
Which I would, well, you say that, but I didn't know that. And so
I Googled that when I found out they were getting the land.
Well, I actually looked up the statute and there it was. I wasn't aware that they had the ability to do that, which gives them, a strong hand. That's the, I think, so their action is going to be, again, another source, you see right up on top of it. I don't know how much helpful this would be to other folks, but at the planning board meeting on September 4th, they had an attorney there who gave an introduction to what they're doing. And the town board website has the meeting, I believe the town board website has the minutes of those meetings from September 4th. And pages 5 through 8 are some of the details about what she's talking about. So they don't even have an application at this point. Okay, so there's really, in other words, I've seen the graphics, but that's where the action is going to be there. So I think people should pay attention if they're concerned about this, is to also on the town board, on the town website is, the schedules of all the meetings, and then I think it's it's this first and third Thursday or something like that, but they have a schedule or an agenda. I'm not starting to lecture.
I know, I understand. You're providing
I'm
information to
providing
everybody
information.
else.
So anyway, if you go on that, when they file, there'll be the agenda there, okay? And then presumably, if they filed an application, that will also be public record. Okay, so people can look at it. In the town board, we have kind of an open period of comment when people come and comment, but the action there is, they don't have as open a process as we do, I'd say. But you'll be able to talk at the planning board or submit stuff, because they're gonna make the decision on, the environmental impacts and all that.
The seeker, they'll be the seeker.
Yeah, but those are two sources, the phone number and the minutes of the meeting, I think, are pretty interesting in terms of.
So they have an open house, and they invited some residents to go to that, small group, I'd say people that live like in a mile radius. So, and if you went, the lawyer was there, Nick Isaacs, the public relation guy, or the project
You
manager.
know more about this than I do.
It's in my backyard, if you're
Okay.
happy to come over to my house, I'll be happy to walk you through the process.
Learning curve is behind your.
It's really in your backyard.
It really is in my backyard. And, so they had all the information, and I had heard through the grapevine before that, it was gonna be 26 trucks. And when I went there, they said, oh, no, 32. 32 trucks of natural gas that they're gonna be bringing in. So again, more to come, but I just think, everybody says not in their backyard. And I really not in my backyard. The other thing I wanted to bring up that is to ask if you guys had Town of Brunswick emails listed on the website. So if I wanted to email Mr. Harrington or Mr. Balistrieri or any of you, you have to send an email to the secretary who then I guess distributes them. If you go to Rensselaer County, every legislature has an email listed for the county, including Mr. McLaughlin. Town of Grafton, Town of Postingkill, Town of North Greenbush. It makes it very difficult for your constituents to email you directly when there's no contact information on the website. So I'd ask you to consider, please, including a Town of Brunswick email for each of you on your website. Thank you.
Good suggestion. Hey, I hand out my phone number, which I don't know how smart that is, but. Anybody else at this point?
Jim must have something. Come on, Jim. Come on.
Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to review really quickly, some things from last month's meeting, when Mr. Bonesteel was here reviewing the Hoosick Road business. Phil, you were taking notes on
I
this?
take notes all the time.
Okay, and you said you were gonna write a summary for the website, you were gonna put on the website.
What, my notes?
No, you said you were gonna summarize what Mr. Bonesteel said
Oh,
and put it on the website.
okay.
I looked on the website,
It didn't happen.
I couldn't find it.
All right,
It may have been there, but,
we can handle that, I promise.
okay, all right.
Some of that, yeah, was in the minutes.
In the minutes, that's what Rebecca had in the minutes, right?
It was very,
Well, yeah, because I read it before I
yeah,
came.
the minute, there was a couple sentences about this, about the
Okay.
details. But also, missing from that, from those possibilities, for example, the lights, the possibility of synchronizing the lights, the traffic circles, et cetera, there was no mention of the CDTC proposals for walkability and pedestrian safety. For example, there's a proposed plan to have a walkable path from Hoosick Road all the way down to Highland Creek, right? And much of this has already been done. This is probably the project which would be the simplest to finish, right? That's about 1.25 miles total. Much of that is already provided. There's a broadened shoulder for pedestrian walkway. And that goes up to Rouse at least. And then from Rouse down to Highland Creek, there's a provision done by the planning board when all these projects went in, that there's a right of way for a walkway on the side of the road. I think they tried it once with just gravel. I don't even remember this when the rains came and the gravel gets swept across the road. It needs some engineering for sure, okay? But there's not that much not that much left to do on that end. Now, the big problem is at the other end, because that one walkway, the shoulder goes up to the rear entrance of Walmart's, and it stops, right? There's about 400 yards that you need to go from that point up to Hoosick, right? And that's an extremely treacherous walkway. I mean, I wouldn't want to walk up there. It's too dangerous. And, okay, and you get to the point, well, it's a county road. Okay.
I was gonna mention, where do we stand there with the county?
Okay, now this is my question. Has anyone been in conversation with people from the county about this? Anybody from the town?
Not recently.
Not recently.
I know we did a year or two ago, we had the conversation, and they weren't interested at that point.
Right.
Okay, who's the interlocutor from the town? Who talks to the county? Who do you talk to at the county? Because I went to the I don't know what they call it, the county meeting with public input a couple months ago. And I remember Mr. Maloney was there, Dan Casal was there, and they were receptive. I spoke there, and I brought this up, and they were receptive about this, and then things never went anywhere further than that. Yeah.
I was gonna suggest that. Follow up with Danny, he's your representative.
Well, I did it once, I mean,
Yeah.
I think, so, but.
Go back and remind him what you remind us.
I'm not sure that's my job.
No, it's not your job. I know.
Right. But
I can.
You were there, you talked to them.
Usually, I understand politics a little bit. Usually politicians try to listen to
Yeah, this is-
constituents more than they listen to us.
This is when
Danny's very good at
Yeah,
that.
I mentioned this to Ken, you know, to talk, this is when I mentioned this to Ken, to talk to his brother, which was you, and I talked to him, we talked to Ken
Yeah, I don't
about
think
this.
Kenny can
All
solve.
right, okay. But I don't think we should abandon this, that little bit of a section, because I think the town has a responsibility to watch out for the safety of pedestrians, right? And I think it is in your job, to get this set up, to get a walkway there. Because there are a fair number of pedestrians there. There are people walking, jogging, walking dogs, pushing baby carriages, walking with walkers, walking with shopping carts, everything there, right? And it's a dangerous situation. I also applaud the possibility of getting the bus back at Price Chopper, because that is also like you pointed out, a pedestrian hazard going across the Hoosick Street with shopping carts.
Somehow we gotta get the word to the Nigel people, you
Right.
know, I mean, because what's happened, I would think people stay on the bus and go to Walmart and go in and grocery shop there, and come out the buses there. Why would they go to Price Chopper and push everything across the road? So I think it's hurt the Price Chopper, which in return should hurt the owner of the plaza.
Mhm.
They're down a little bit percentages in terms of sales and stuff, but it should get the buses off that road if we could.
Well, I'm not sure what influence I'd have if I talk to anybody at Niagara, but the town might, just squeeze.
I'm gonna try.
All right.
Anybody else at this point?
I have one more, I know you don't usually do school, but I just wanted to, I'm sorry, Jim. So I just wanted to wish Rebecca well and to say thank you. You've been helpful every time I needed something, and I know other people. So I just wanted to thank you and wish you well.
I appreciate that.
Right, sorry.
I can.
Hello, Ken Jensen, Roberts Drive. I wanted to find out if the budget has been put on the website yet, because I didn't see it. Because, last year it didn't happen until the same day as the meeting, so I just wanted to find out if we could do a little more.
I think the preliminary goes on the website.
Okay.
That's once we have it.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This is just a
That was just a tentative.
real early one.
right, yeah, but I was just like, I thought it was on the website, I didn't see it on there, and I was like, I'm gonna get my hands on that. All right, thank you. And also, yes, I'd like to wish Rebecca well in her future endeavors, and I know Cheryl will do a great job. I've always had a good experience with her, so thank you guys.
Anybody else at this point? I think the only comment I want to make is when it comes to the gas situation there in National Grid, people ask me, when did you know about it? When I found out about it, they already owned the land. These guys bought the land. That's what I heard about. That concerns me a little bit, that they bought the land. Usually these developers don't invest the money unless they're really sure that they're gonna get the project. Even our solar people do not own that land over there. They're waiting for the zoning, so contingent on approval. The National Grid did buy that, pay for it already, what it's worth. I've had other people say, well, you didn't zone it right. The town board hasn't got it zoned right. The fact of the matter is, public utilities such as National Grid, the way I understand our zoning, they can build anything in any zoning area. And John, right, John? If I get that name right? Terry Buchanan and Gary said you're great guys.
I'm not sure if that's good enough.
But what's hard to believe, I believe that is zoned, and I shouldn't be winging it here, but I think that's an R25. I know it's residential, but I think it's, is it an R40?
What does that mean, Arthur?
One house per acre, and R25 is smaller than an acre. I was told today by an attorney, not this attorney, that he thought it was an R25. Anyway, it is a residential area.
Mr. Aaron, I just, I
Sure.
don't go to back and forth, I want to disrespect the meeting, but I just would offer to the board to be cautious about what we think in regards to what a public utility has the absolute right to do. There are ways where a municipality can object with reasonable consideration. And I think the safety of the roadway, I think a home estimate needs to lay out that way. So I know you guys will do that, and I have full confidence, but I just don't want to have the mindset that, hey, it's public utility, it's National Grid, we can't beat that process. You know what I'm saying?
Just hang in there because I'm not done yet.
Got
When you get done, then you can say it. What I was going to say is, just because they're a public utility, National Grid, this is real early in the process. This is early in the process. They have to go to the planning board. That's where the special use permit is. We know our planning board. We have an outstanding planning board. I'm quite sure they're gonna take a hard look at this. The possibility, I don't know, possibility of doing a positive seeker, a full environmental study like they did on the solar. And as we know, they're still studying the solar. So, and the planning board did do that. And I mean, we talk about Chick-fil-A, whoever wants to take credit for whatever. We almost knew in the beginning when that came in, that all that traffic and stuff is gonna be a challenge on Route 7. But we as a board just can't say you can't come. You gotta come and go through the process. So as John said, I'm gonna say just because it's a public utility, I like to think we're gonna have an input. That's what I'm hoping for with planning. The other thing that bothers me with that solar, and it bothers me a lot, is, as you know, we have a dairy farm. One problem we have with our farm, we keep getting bigger and bigger, and our power needs. We have a lot of fans, a lot of 10-horse motors, so we don't have enough power. We burn a couple compressors or transformers up. There's 3-phase, we do not have, that's over on Route 7. Matter of fact, it's parked right on John Center Road. We have approached over the years, National Grid to bring it over. They want a lot of money, but my brother and myself did offer to pay for that. And it's been a challenge. all of a sudden you look over here to Chesney and they're running 3-phase up the road. And when you stop and you talk to somebody in the truck, they say, oh, we're just taking it up to where that solar project is. When I talk to somebody from National Grid, they say, this got nothing to do with solar. That's 3-phase, that's a lot of money to run. They were already running over there. You can't say they're running up for houses, because there's no houses up there. So there's a lot of things that concern me too, that I see. And I think quite a few on the town board, quite interested to see what the planning board is gonna do with this whole National Grid issue with the gas. So, anybody else? One more chance? Board?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, before we do, Rebecca, you did a real good job over the years. I know sometimes you didn't agree. However, you made a lot of improvements, you did a lot of good things. I just wish you well as you move into your new ventures. So thank you for service to the town of Brunswick people. All right, get a motion on second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
You making a call?